This is, to be honest, my first time doing a scripted video. So if it sucks, then it sucks and I learn. No, let's get on with it, I guess. I cannot stick to a script though. I'm not able to loosely follow this, I'm gonna have to, because I cannot, read this off word for word. I'm gonna lose my mind. Excuse me. Five Nights at Freddy's in Dead by Daylight. If you'd have asked me a year ago, hell, even a couple of months ago, I would have told you it will never happen. I was of the group who believed it was simply another meme in the community by now. A whole, it's gonna be Springtrap this time, copium every 3 months. But here we are. 8 months, hold on. No, fuck me, it's 3 months. No, hold on. It's 2 months left on the clock. That's not in the script. What? It's 2 months left. Hi. Until someone arrives in the fog from one of our favourite pizzerias. Dead by Daylight and Five Nights at Freddy's. In many ways, this is perfect for me. Biggest obsession of my whole life and my biggest modern obsession. In fact, I've gone so far as to guarantee that when the chapter comes out, I'm putting everything in hold to get whoever we get to Procedure 100 immediately. But of course, that leaves the question, who will it be? An important question indeed, and there are well over 50 animatronics that I could name off the top of my head alone. Believe me, I did. I think I got to about 100 before I started struggling. But some are a better fit for the fog than others. All I'm saying is, the killer probably won't be Phantom Balloon Boy, so sorry Phantom Balloon Boy fans. Do you guys exist? Secondly, there are some things I'm hoping absolutely won't be the case, partly selfishly and partly because I think it would horribly misrepresent the franchise. I have a little list of 4, actually. Number 1, whoever the killer is, I am begging for it not to be a stealth killer. We already have 5 killers purely based on stealth, is that right? 5? Is there more than that now? We have Wraith, Myers, Pig, Ghosty, Sadako, Chucky. Wraith, Myers, Ghosty, Sadako, Pig, Chucky. That's 6. Okay. Nice. That's even more than I thought. Awesome. And of those, 5 are licensed. But beyond that, the whole point of FNaF was never stealth. You're never surprised when an animatronic kills you, at least not in the same sense as someone like Michael Myers or Ghostface. The feeling FNaF classically created was far different. You know they're coming, and you're all but powerless to stop them. That's the feeling that a FNaF power should be aiming to create in this chapter, rather than, oh Jesus, how did Rockstar Chica fully stalk me from around that corner? Though, now that I've said that aloud, a Rockstar Chica skin for Ghostface would be hilarious. I also really don't want the killer to be Matthew Lillard's Springtrap from the film. There's just so much less content to work with compared to the games universe that it'd put so much of the series to waste. Though granted, he'll probably be a legendary skin, so there you go. The killer should be from one of the games before Ultimate Custom Night. It may be the fact I'm a big 18 years old and I remember my days in the pizzeria better than in the Pizzaplex. But, oh my god, this is so fucking corny, what am I on about? But I don't think there's any world where the glam rock gang are the best representation of the series. Especially not somewhere so dark and gloomy as the Entity's Realm. Seriously, can you imagine fucking Roxanne Wolf running around? It'd be hilarious. Roxanne Wolf chasing down Nicolas Cage. The survivor should be Michael Afton, not Vanessa. Yes, Vanessa has a canon known human person actual face, but I don't think that she's a good way to represent the series over Michael. As we've found out lately, the entire crux of the story, up to this new stuff with the Mimic, which I don't know where that's going, the entire thread that connected the story was the Afton family. So it should be the Aftons who come to the fog, in theory. Excuse me. Rant over now. Well, no, it's not actually. We've got a long way to go before this rant is over. On the other hand, there are some characters who would make a great fit for the chapter this summer, I've identified 4 characters who in my opinion would make the best fit for a FNaF killer in Dead by Daylight. I'm going to discuss in detail today why I think each of those characters would be a great fit thematically, both as a representative for the series at large, as well as why they'd be well suited in the fog. I'll also be talking a little bit about what a potential concept for their power could be, and perhaps why other people would not be such a good fit. Fittingly enough, my list contains 1 character from each of the first 4 games. We have the most universally acceptable killer, Freddy Fazbear from Five Nights at Freddy's 1. My personal favourite concept for a killer, the Puppet from Five Nights 2, because I'm biased as hell, have you seen my fucking username? The most likely killer we'll get, Springtrap from Five Nights 3. And in my opinion, the objective best killer for the series, yes, Springtrap, in my opinion, can be upstaged, Nightmare Fredbear from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Excuse me. We will be talking in depth about why each of these are the best fits for representing the series, what feeling they would be attempting to create within the fog, and why someone else from their game would not do that feeling and representation better, followed by what their power might look like if they are the candidate we get. So, without any further delay, let's get started on the first candidate, Freddy Fazbear himself, the most universally acceptable choice. To explain why Freddy would be a good fit for the realm, I want you all to cast your minds back to 2014. Try not to think about the fact that was 11 years ago now, though. You're playing, or if you are a pansy or child like me, watching the game for the very first time. Night 1, 12 AM. Everything is seemingly a little creepy, but nothing special. Maybe even get as far as 2 AM with no issue, and then your stomach, I can't do this. And then your stomach drops at the realization one of them moved. Panic spreads as you desperately, frantically click cameras, desperately searching for the blue bunny or the chicken. Then you find them. But you can't relax again. The information that they're coming for you didn't provide any comfort at all. Even so, generally Night 1 goes straightforwardly for most people. Then you get to Night 2, Foxy wakes, and yeah, for some people this was already a lot more trouble. But it's still by no means really a challenge once you get your head around Foxy's checking mechanic, especially nowadays as nigh on everyone knows how it works. Then you get to Night 3. Since 1 and 2 generally went well, most people are optimistic by this point. I got through those standardly, maybe I can finish this game quickly after all. I remember it as a little scare and a good fun, but then I'll move on and play something else. And then Freddy moves, and that stomach drop from Night 1 happens all over again as he laughs at you as his approaches. The realization comes that all you did before now, that was nothing. Here's where the game will properly begin, and Freddy Fazbear is going to be the one you're focusing on now, whether you like it or not. Freddy was the sole reason that for a while, 420 mode was thought to be near impossible. This is why Freddy would be an amazing fit for a chapter in Dead by Daylight. Remember, the first FNaF game was supposed to be a one-off horror Scott made on his way out of Devon after years of failure and bankruptcy, and yes, it blew up. And frankly, I'd say it's predominantly down to that feeling of dread, utter powerlessness that Freddy's created on Night 1, then that very feeling which Freddy himself rebirthed on Night 3. I can't with this shit, dude. Who do I think I am writing all this? That's what's so special about Freddy Fazbear in the first game, though. That realization. You're playing his game now. And you're gonna lose. Maybe not now, maybe not soon, but you will. Even if you don't know it, he does. Limited power, limited information, nowhere to run or hide. You sit and wait for them to come at you. All the while, Freddy laughs at you, stares dead at you through the camera with piercing, haunted eyes, reminding you it's me. It is him. He will be the one who kills you. That's why when you lose your power, the one thing you clung to for dear life, it's not Foxy, or Bonnie, or Chica, or Golden Freddy that comes to get you. It's Freddy. He's the one in control here. And even then, he doesn't take your life in a single moment. He toys with you even further, stalling, laughing, singing in your face. And only after he's had his fun, tormenting you, can you finally die, or worse, live to die the next night. man, this is really dramatic. No other character from Five Nights 1 could represent the franchise like good old Freddy. Foxy, Bonnie and Chica are great, sure, but they could never do it like Freddy. They're not the main attraction. And frankly, I think FNaF 1 Golden Freddy would be a horrible choice, simply because in 99% of player experiences of this game, you never see him anyway. While this is something I'll end up saying about all 4 animatronics today, Freddy really was the finale, the mastermind of his game. While others would go on to take that title again, it'd never be another Freddy. No character did it in quite the same way as he did, making the player feel not only powerless, but pathetic, humiliated by their powerlessness. And that power balance is something we're only all too familiar with in the realm. As a power concept for Freddy, I think something which recreates that dreadful build-up and eventual powerless situation he creates would be ideal. Yes, I'm about to tell you that Freddy Fazbear should be a setup killer. So, let me set the scene for you. The animatronic's power is crude, haunting. Begin the trial in the 12 AM phase. The animatronic can set up to 8 cameras on the walls and structures around the map, but cannot look through these cameras himself. Across the map, a series of monitors will be placed at random at the start of the trial. Survivors can use these monitors to watch the animatronic, but at their own peril. By holding the power button, the animatronic can imprint cameras with a false visage of himself, a grim reminder that you cannot escape this horror. If a survivor views an imprinted camera, they are inflicted with expose for an extended time, and revealed by killer instinct for a much shorter time. They will also reward the animatronic with a crude, haunting token. The animatronic can also use the cameras he sets as teleporting devices. If a survivor is viewing the camera at the time the animatronic attempts to teleport it, he can teleport directly to the monitor the survivor is viewing instead. After 45 seconds of not viewing any monitors, a survivor's movement interval will reset, and the animatronic will gain a crude haunting token, advancing to the next hour, moving, for example, from 12 AM to 1 AM, up to the maximum state 5 AM, reducing his cooldowns, increasing the duration of the dreads he inflicts upon the survivors. A camera will error after 10 seconds of consecutive viewing, forcing it to reset over a long period and denying survivors the ability to slow the animatronic's advancement with that camera. Once the animatronic reaches the next hour, he cannot be returned to the previous hour. Side note, I've never come up with a power concept before, and this one isn't the favourite of mine that I designed, so if it sounds horrible, oh well. I've done about 1,000 words on Freddy alone, so I think it's time we move on to the next candidate. I'll try to pick up the pace. Now, my favourite choice for the killer, the puppet from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Once again, the puppet, like Freddy, serves as the mastermind-like figure for the second game, but he does it in a very different fashion than the bear. The experience of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is much more frantic, chaotic, and of course, difficult than the first game. You're fending off 10 animatronics all at once, each one working slightly differently enough to make that feeling of hopelessness feel more like driving at 300 miles per hour and seeing the edge of the cliff. And in this game, that edge is the puppet, the 11th threat, the one who, if you forget, even for a second, will kill you, inevitably. More so than losing your power, in this game, the end of a rough night will be losing the music box. The puppet will be the one to end you in that scenario, but she doesn't stall like Freddy. She doesn't laugh and sing and wait. Once her music starts, your seconds are numbered. She will come for you as fast as she can make it to that office, and that will be the end. Excuse me. In that sense, rather than total, unending powerlessness, the feeling of facing down the puppet is more like trying to walk a tightrope slicked with oil. And that's equally scary, if not more. The puppet represents that oddity, the unusual, the thing you can't quite understand, but just cannot afford to ignore either. Now, I don't think the puppet is the best fit for a DBD chapter. Don't get me wrong, I think all the other 3 would do the franchise better. But the puppet is my favourite idea, my favourite animatronic, so I felt like including her anyways, and I feel like she could be a very viable candidate if we got a second Five Nights at Freddy's chapter, similar to how we did with Resident Evil. As for her power, the puppet's power is Misery Song. After the first generator is completed, all survivors are given the music box special item, and any standard items they're holding are dropped. The music box cannot be put down or removed and will wind down anytime the survivor is not winding it up. If the music box unwinds completely, it will not be windable any longer. The survivor will make loud noise notifications even when performing slow actions, suffers from obliviousness, and can be killed by the killer's own hand. When a survivor is unhooked or unhooks a survivor, both the unhooked and unhooker's music box are fully rewound. Each time a generator is completed, the music boxes all partly unwind. The puppet is also given her own music box, which unwinds naturally over time and rewinds partly when a generator is completed. When the puppet's music box unwinds fully, she becomes capable of a jump scare special attack, as well as being able to teleport within a short range to survivors whose music box is above 30% wound. Hitting a survivor with a jump scare will inflict damage as well as deep wound and reduce their music box wind. That one was only 500 words, so I think this can be made more concise after all. We have 2 more animatronics to discuss, so let's not delay. The most likely killer, Springtrap from Five Nights 3. Springtrap is exactly who we're all expecting, so much so I'd recommend you to put money on him being the killer we get if I were a gambling man. And rightly so, in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, for those who somehow don't know, there's only one true animatronic who can kill you. The others are just phantoms, hallucinations. And yet, most people who've played the games agree that this is the hardest by far. Well, other than Ultimate Custom Night, but duh. And then there's the animatronic himself. Throughout the main minigames of the nights, you come to understand just exactly what you're facing. Under that goofy rabbit mask is the purple guy, later known as William Afton, the very killer who's responsible for every death and spirit haunting this restaurant franchise. In many ways, this is the greatest threat in the whole franchise. No longer some goofy mascot in a colourful mask. No, now you're facing down a real monster. And Five Nights 3 represents this perfectly. You have so little to stop him. No closable doors, no mask to fool him, no flashlight to blind and escape him. No, you have cameras to watch him come for you. Vents you can seal, but at the price of ventilation risks, and an audio law which is anything but reliable. More so than any other game in the series, and more than any game after. You're exposed, with nothing you can truly rely on to save you. But what would Springtrap look like in the fog? That's what I'll try to speculate now. The Phantom's power is Burning Haunt. When near a survivor, the Phantom can haunt that survivor, forcing them to bear the burden of his horrors. If the survivor is exhausted, they can be haunted by Phantom Freddy, forcing them to remain exhausted. If the survivor is injured, Phantom Balloon Boy can haunt them, inflicting them with broken for 90 seconds. Phantom Mangle can haunt generators, and when that generator is touched, Phantom Mangle will screech, inflicting the survivor with deafness and obliviousness for 50 seconds. The Phantom Puppet will be automatically released after the Phantom achieves at least 2 hook stages, and travels the map slowly, destroying pallets and breakable doors at random. He also creates a loud ringing noise within 24 meters, drowning out the Phantom's terror radius. For each active haunt, the Phantom gains 5% haste. The Phantom can also set up hollow vents on any wall in the map, up to a maximum of 5. By entering a hollow vent, the Phantom can instantly travel to another hollow vent unless it is blocked. Only one hollow vent can be blocked at a time and must be done by the survivor. The Phantom is not told which vent is blocked, and travelling to a blocked hollow vent will trap the Phantom for 5 seconds before he is allowed to return out of the vent he entered through. Hollow vents which are not blocked make screams the same as the survivors in the match. See how I managed to incorporate the 3 big elements of FNaF 3 there? The Phantom animatronics, the vents, and the audio law, instead of just some budget wraith with a special attack. I'm not slagging anyone off. It's no wonder that even suggesting someone else taking the spot of our DBD killer has invoked sheer outrage in the community. After all, there's none more deserving of the title killer than William Afton, so of course he should be the one that takes that spot in the fog. Right? Well, the objective best fit for a FNaF killer. Here's the bit where I stand up and say with full confidence, look at everyone in behaviour and in the community and say, no, that's wrong, like my name's Hajime Hinata. I can't believe I just said that. Oh, that's such a fucking nerd reference. Anyway, because I think that Nightmare Fredbear is the best killer choice for Dead by Daylight, and I don't think it's close. Let's analyse why this golden bear would be better to represent the series than anyone else, including Springtrap. Cast your mind back to the original 4 games we had. In the first game, we learned of the infamous Bite of 87. The Bite of 87?! And an event which we would be reminded of again and again with no answer in sight. The question many of us asked again and again, what bite? Then we get to Five Nights 4 and there are bites everywhere. Every promo of the Nightmare animatronics titled, Was It Me or Me? And yet, a certain animatronic was not advertised. Every single character had huge claws, monstrous jaws, and tears in their costume, which put the withered animatronics to shame. You play through the first 4 nights, you see all the same horrors again, and then you get to night 5 and see Fredbear. And that's when, at least for the first time, the pieces came together. It was him. It's me. People seem to often forget that 4 was supposed to be the original end to the series. For a while it truly seemed that it would be. Scott confirmed the original story had been told, and that seemed to be it. That combined with the fact he did everything the other Nightmares did better. Huh? And that seemed to be the end. I've lost where I am in my script. Let's go back. Scott confirmed the original story had been told, and that seemed to be the end. This even more so presented Fredbear as the final boss of the series, and that combined with the fact he did everything the other Nightmares did better, made him truly feel inescapable in a way that was more intoxicating than ever before. Fredbear, and by extension death, was quite literally anywhere you turn to. This is why Fredbear, in my opinion, is the best candidate to take the spot in the fog next summer. But what exactly would a Nightmare Killer mean for Dead by Daylight? Obviously we don't. Obviously, we don't want to go down the same route as Freddy, because we all saw how that ended until recently. So instead, let's bring the Nightmare out to the survivors this time, rather than pulling them into him. The mascot's power is never-ending nightmare. Begin the trial in Hunter mode. While in Hunter mode, the mascot can teleport to pallets, vaults, and breakable doors at will. Teleporting to a pallet or breakable door will instantly break the door if it is not set up right. Teleporting to a vault will block it for 15 seconds. Teleporting does not end Hunter mode. The mascot cannot attack while in Hunter mode, but can curse survivors with a basic attack. For each survivor cursed, Nightmare mode recharges 25% faster. After transitioning out of Hunter mode, the mascot enters Nightmare mode. Nightmare mode lasts 60 seconds plus an extra 6 seconds for each generator that has been completed so far. In Nightmare mode, the mascot can teleport to pallets only, and within 18 meters. This will not break them, however his recovery is much faster and he can follow up with an attack. Teleport attacks will injure a healthy survivor and put an injured survivor into deep wound. A failed teleport attack reduces the remaining duration of Nightmare mode by 5 seconds. After Nightmare mode ends, any survivors hit by a teleport attack are inflicted with blindness and exhaustion for 25 seconds. After 4 gens have been completed, teleport attacks will instantly put survivors into the dying state. Teleport attacks are considered basic attacks for the effects of killer and survivor perks alike. The mascot suffers from aura blindness during nightmare mode, other than for auras which are necessary for his power. For each survivor who is hit with a teleport attack or a basic attack during nightmare mode, the cooldown of nightmare mode is reduced by 5 seconds, and the mascot gains 5% haste in hunter mode. Okay. Thank you all for listening to my rambling and hearing out my concepts of what the DBD Five Nights at Freddy's chapter might end up looking like. I do expect that Springtrap will be the one that we get in the fog. But hey, nothing is set in stone. Come summer, we're at summer, we could be getting number 1 crate as our newest killer. Okay, maybe not. Hopefully. Regardless, I will be playing, learning and proceding whatever zombie mascot... Zombie? Okay, mascot we get. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. As for a closing note, turn Helpy and Plush Trap into perks. That would be really funny, I think. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. Wow, those power concepts were kind of ass, huh? Anyway, I'll see you all when I see you all, I guess. Ta-da!